It's wet, it's grey, it's summertime in England. I know, you've gone searching on YouTube for vlogs or videos about San Diego Comic-Con, and you find yourself looking at a guy, an Englishman, in a car park in Yorkshire. I know, what's that got to do with San Diego Comic-Con? Well, this is an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Leonard Sultana. We are at the 4th of June 2014. We are 49 days away from day one official of San Diego Comic-Con 2014. 48 days obviously to preview night, but not everyone's got preview night tickets, so 49 days officially. And at 3:10 in an afternoon, that would make us 8 o'clock in the morning in San Diego, which means we would just be heading down day one. We would probably just be heading down past Broken Yoke and getting something to eat. Why do you find me in a car park in Yorkshire in the rain? Well, actually the rain kind of reminds me of it's warm and tight and muggy, and it actually reminds me of my first time we went to San Diego, because it was the first time I'd been to North America, first time I'd been to California, first time I'd been to San Diego. It was my honeymoon, so it was quite a big and auspicious trip. But it was also the a year which San Diego was blighted by some of the not worst weather, but it was just really overcast and grey and slightly chilly. And I was expecting California sunshine, and everywhere we went, we were in Hall H lines and various queues, talking to people and saying, people obviously picking up on the accent and saying, yes, it's my first time here in California. We're so sorry. That's because that was the two comments that I always got in the lines. It was either, we are so sorry that you've come to America and this is the weather you're getting. Well, yes, but the other comment we got was, well, thank you so much for bringing Yorkshire and England weather with you on your trip. We really appreciate it. Thanks. But you know what? I think the Californians do appreciate a little bit of wet weather and some kind of release and some kind of change, because obviously in 2014 San Diego has not had the best of times of it. I think I've got a map on somewhere where I think I'm going to put it as an overlay of the temperatures and the ferocity of the heat that has hit San Diego this year. They've not had the best of time of it. They've had fires, they've had warnings and threat assessments. It's really been a bad time for San Diego, and my heart goes out to my SD family, and I really do hope it's all kind of turning around a bit, and I hope you haven't burnt to the ground by the time we've got to San Diego. But unfortunately that is the nature of the beast. So why do you find me in a car park? Well, like I say, it's preparation time. 58 days to go, 59 days to go, and my wife Caroline is at this point in a whole bunch of shops in this shopping. It's not a mall, it's kind of like a whole bunch of shops all gathered together in a precinct, and she's picking up things for the trip. So travel pillows, travel adapters, travel socks, sleeping mats for the essential line queues. I think we're going to be picking up the travel seats that I mentioned in the hangout on Sunday. I think we're going to pick them up in San Diego because they only cost something like $10-15, and they're always handy to just put over your shoulder and take a load off while you're in the queue and then you're in the lines. But it's all about practicalities now at this point. It's getting everything all kind of nailed down. Caroline is very much the kind of person who will pack and get everything in suitcases at this point, with 7 weeks to go. There is somebody, or there are several people I know, that are already almost fully packed. 2 copies of everything printed out. Hello, Sharon. Nice to see you. You putting the fear of God up, Caroline, the last time we met over the weekend. Because it was... She just brought out all these folders of her preparation for the trip to San Diego from the UK. Practicalities, though. That's what I think this particular vlog is going to be about. Because it's time to kind of get ourselves ready, especially with something that I brought up on the hangout on Sunday, the online community. Because it's always to head to something like San Diego forearmed and forewarned, and also have an armory of people that you can call on. So yes, this is going to be a long roster of names. Now, when I started making this roster up, because this is off the back of the vlog I did last for 2013, where I went through a number of names and people that you would be ideal to follow on social media. But then I started adding to it this year for this vlog, and there's just so many. There's people that I've added to this year, and also friends that I've made online, that it just ended up being an extremely long list. So the list is going to be in full on the accompanying blog post on AnEnglishmanInSanDiego.com, which I'll put a link to down below. And all of them are on there, but I'm going to rattle through a number of headlines. Not the ones that stand out. I'm just going to rattle through. I'm not going to go through them all because there are just so many. But this is about the online resources. So you're more than welcome to turn this off at this point, because I'm not going to talk about much else. It is going to be a rattling off of blog post titles and Twitter accounts, which can be a bit boring to watch, so you can just go down to the list. But it's all about arming yourself, especially if you've got your mobile device, your phone, people that you can speak to. Before you go, of course, there's the online resources. Generally, you can go to the San Diego Unofficial Comic-Con blog, which is a team-led event or affair, which has a lot of multiple heads which specialize in various aspects of the con. Exclusives, television, film, panels. It really is it's quite a comprehensive resource for you to check out. They have, on occasion, in the past, been very quick to post something when they've been very sharp and on the ball, but then they've had to kind of backtrack as either plans have changed or announcements get changed. But they're very good for that initial first rush, and I certainly feel them to be an essential resource. Along with those as well, the San Diego Comic-Con Unofficial blog wants certainly for you to be their only stop, their first and last stop for people to prepare to go out to Comic-Con. But there are other sites as well, and I feel a compliment to the Unofficial blog is the Friends of CCI Forum, which, as I've described in the past, is to me the Wikipedia of San Diego Comic-Con, because it is so nicely organized. You can find out pretty much anything you want to about the con that you'll be wanting to attend. It's run by Alyssa Franks and has a rather efficient moderators team there. I was a moderator last year. I still am technically, but I've dialed back, and I don't think I've really moderated anything on the Friends of CCI Forum for some time, partially because of just time, and partially because it is also so self-regulated. They look after each other, and it's a very tight bond that everyone gets into at the Friends of CCI blog. Forum, sorry. Big fan of them. Other online resources, the Confluence. Now, Sean, who runs the Confluence, also contributes to the Unofficial blog, but he also has his own site. Now, the Confluence deals a lot with Disney World, and collectibles. That's his prime interests. And he's very passionate about that and his cons. There was a very interesting post that Sean and Jeremy from the Unofficial blog did as a tour of WonderCon when it was run this year. And you can just tell that he's very passionate about the con scene, and I like the Confluence a lot. Supporting the Confluence when it comes to collectibles is a site that I've started following called Action Figure Fury, which is a very good site for collectibles and exclusives news, mostly dealing with toys from across the board, not necessarily con exclusives, but they do that as well. So very good site to follow. Of course, there's our good friends, the Nerdy Girlie, Megan Gotch, who I still will be an eternal champion for. She is so enthusiastic about the San Diego Comic-Con and just attending as a fan. She isn't so much in terms of an online resource, in terms of kind of nailed down information, so like up to the minute news, but she just rolls out things that just make going to the con so much more enjoyable. So yes, big fan of Megan. And of course, crazy for Comic-Con, Tony B. Kim. Tony's star has certainly been on the ascendance in recent months, and indeed the last 12 months, because he's hosted a number of panels at cons as well, including the Doctor Who panel at was it WonderCon this year? I believe it was, with Matt Smith on stage. So when you are invited to become the moderator of a panel, you know that you've kind of made your mark. He is also enthusiastic about Comic-Con. He hasn't ramped up his coverage of con this year, but I suspect that's because he is being pulled in all sorts of directions. So hopefully he's going to be turning up the heat of his con coverage for 2014 shortly. Other blogs that I would certainly rattle through. The Nerd Element, who are good friends of ours at Englishman Englishman in San Diego. Kimberly, Natasha, Liana, Jimmy. I can't remember. There's a whole host of them that make up the Nerd Element. They do a very, very good podcast. They do a very, very good Twitter feed when it comes to coverage of television shows such as Game of Thrones and Hannibal, and shows that are very much in the public eye. They also do some very good, very quick reviews of films and things. So, the Nerd Element, big fan of those. Who else? The Nerd Truth. You may spot a familiar thread here. Nerd. I didn't actually just search for nerd online, but yes, there is that common thread. Nerds. The Nerd Truth. Now, this was a group that set up on Facebook originally between Jason and Jesse. Jason's based in New York. Jesse, I am going to get this wrong again. I want to say Tennessee. And I'm probably going to get that completely wrong. Every single time. I've just got Tennessee in my head that's where he's from. And I guarantee it's wrong. I'll check and put it in the text below. The Nerd Truth have just started. They've just done their second podcast. And they've just started looking at panels that may appear at Comic-Con. Big fan of them. They're just enthusiastic and slightly dry humour, because Jesse and certainly Jason to some degree as well are big fans of Brit comedies, like The Young Ones and the IT Crowd, and there is that kind of very British humour that runs through them, and I like the Nerd Truth a lot. So they're certainly people to keep an eye on. Who else have we got? Of course, I can't not do this without sending a massive shout out to the supporters of the Englishman in San Diego, because we have had some great guests on the Sunday A Cup of Tea hangout, including Futon Alliance, the Nerdy Girls, or the one of the Nerdy Girls, Nerd Link, that's nerd with an E. Is it James? I believe it was James. Nerd Foo, Chris, with that highly desirable wall of Pop Funkos. I like him. I like his feed as well. I'm still a big fan of the Nerd Foo Twitter feed. Gender Bias Reviews, always will be an eternal fan of theirs as well. And that's a little bit like the Nerdy Girlie. My enthusiasm for their site grows and grows every single time I go to it. The GB Reviews site is very good. Also, someone who I wasn't going to mention because it just highlights my own shortcomings, the Mighty Jerd. Jeff Mueller is someone dedicated to getting nerds fit. And he's set up a website which allows you to get yourself into fine shape and fine form and get into good health as a nerd, because we do just kind of sit there, says this guy who's sitting and doing this in a car park. But I did set up a vlog called Bye Bye Comic Book Guy, and he was very helpful on those initial episodes of that. It's myself that's kind of let it slide, so sorry about that. But no, the Mighty Jerd I'm a fan of. And then, of course, there's Twitter, which is, during the con, an amazing resource to have that live interaction. And also, if you have notifications on, instant news about what's going on. There's a whole list of Twitter feeds, which I'm going to list in the description below and in the complimentary post as well. But let's point out a handful, which are certainly people to cover. SDCC blog, of course, which goes under the Twitter handle SD_comic_con. And their whole team as well. Jeremy, which is Spot Anime. Kerry Dixon. James, which is Dan Regal. Conshark News. And SDCC GOT Girl, which is either SDCC Game of Thrones Girl or SDCC Got Girl. I'm going to have to ask her and find out what that actually means. But yeah. Outside Comic-Con, very good for the outside events and the off-site events as well. Hall H line and Ballroom 20 line, they do come off on occasion as parodies. They're very funny. They do make smart-ass jokes about the lines, but at the end of the day, that's the nature of the beast. You have to have a laugh about the lines, otherwise you'll just cry. At this point, they do come off a little bit like a parody pair of accounts. I don't even know if they're the same person. I don't think they are. They have had this kind of thing where they are at odds and loggerheads with each other. But together they make a great couple of feeds to follow. So Hall H line and Ballroom 20 line. Whole number of practical tweets, which I'm going to list below. News feeds, Gaslamp Quarter, San Diego Gaslamp, SD Convention Center. It's always handy to keep an eye on what's actually happening at the place where the con is happening. Ace Parking, of course. I think they're going to be... they've obviously had their issues in recent weeks with their sales. But that's going to be a practical Twitter feed to follow, especially when it comes to updates as to what sites are full, how sites are being maintained. Number of news tweets as well. San Diego 6, NBC San Diego. There's also a Fox News, but we try not to talk about Fox News too much. So there. There's also NWS San Diego, which is the National Weather Service. It's actually based in San Diego. I think it's probably handy to have that in your feed, if anything, just so you know what to expect, especially if you're camping out overnight. Because every once in a while, a shower or a drop in temperature. Always handy to know when what the weather's doing in San Diego, especially when it is so changeable. Another news feed that I follow is UT San Diego, which is a newspaper and online site which covers San Diego. It's very critical of the con and has posted a number of editorials and a number of articles criticizing its dominance of San Diego, how it takes up the city while it's there, the cost of the convention center expansion, how it's driving San Diego into the ground, how businesses don't want it, hotels don't. They can be very critical of the con, but I follow them in almost a better the devil you know scenario, and it does affect, it's stuff that does affect the con, so it's good to get both sides of the coin. So there's a site to follow. And of course, I'm going to highlight my the followers, the people that do retweet me a lot, retweet the articles that I post. Cyber.org, Co Yatua, Ready Steady Stop, Mega Doug, who is a frequent participant and a winner. He has won on numerous occasions at the Masquerade. Do check out the San Diego. The Comic-Con website for last year's Masquerade pictures. I believe Mega Doug was part of the team that did the Galaxy Quest lineup. Very, very good. Dark Stitch, very good supporter of Englishman in San Diego. And Jim Watari as well. Jay Watari, who I got to know via the Google Plus community, which I set up and for San Diego Comic-Con, and he's always been a good supporter not only of Englishmen in San Diego but also of the community as well. Also the Burke brothers, Martin Burke is a good friend online. I'm also going to mention one name, which is 716689, which is one of those awkward and awful Twitter handles, but it's Neil Williamson, who is kind of my UK attendees group brother-in-arms, my rock, my supporter. I'm not going to talk too much about the UK attendees group because I'm going to save that for next week's vlog. I want to do a nice big thing on the UK attendees group. I'm trying to think who I may have missed here. I think the other people to definitely follow are San Diego Comic-Con. They have their Twitter feed, comic_con. They have the Toucan blog. They have their RSS feed. They have their the website updates. They do have a Google Plus page. Just to let you know as well, in all the annotations below and also in the comments, you may notice a rather big bias towards the Google Plus links of all the blogs and feeds that I've mentioned. Mostly because I can't stand bloody Twitter. Facebook, sorry. So I'm so frustrated with them. I didn't even get the name. Facebook. Ever since they went public and became went to and sold shares, it became very obvious that shareholders wanted their money back, and Facebook has kind of seriously gone off the boil for me. Google Plus for me is the destination of choice. For me, I go to when I wake up in the morning. Twitter, Google Plus, the Friends of CCI Forum, Twitter, Google Plus, Twitter, and then get up and kind of do what I need to do in the day. So yes, you may notice some bias for the Google Plus pages below. They have CCI don't support their Google Plus page so much, and I think they should, because the Facebook page has just turned into a hotbed of seething resentment and anger, and I think there's a little bit more support and also a better way to organize themselves on Google Plus. But I'm going to try and encourage them when I hopefully speak to somebody in San Diego this year. And then of course there's me, Englishman in San Diego. Oh, let's get it right, shall we? An Englishman in San Diego.com, Englishman SDCC on the Twitter, google.com/plus an Englishman in San Diego on Google Plus. Yes, you can find me all over the place. YouTube, Pinterest. To be honest, most of them are cross posts from the main page, but you can find me on a number of social medias. And I am going to do my utmost to post and tweet an awful lot this year. So I'd love you to follow Englishman SDCC. I'd love the support if you don't mind. While I've been talking, a message has just popped up in the corner of my screen saying that the missus is wanting picking up. She's on the other side of this particular shopping precinct mall area, and she's not too keen on walking through the rain. This is where the other half has to do what he has to do and go and pick her up. At least I didn't get dragged around a shop at any point anyway. I don't do shopping. I will see you hopefully in slightly brighter and warmer climes next week, as like I say, I'm going to do a vlog on the UK attendees group. A truly fine bunch of people. And making up the international in Comic-Con International. Right, here's a competition then. I am going to give £100 to the first person who tweets me on Thursday morning next week. I'm not too sure of the date. I'll find out and post it below. If I haven't posted by next Thursday morning my putting the international in Comic-Con International blog post, I've been promising to do this thing for about 5 months now. This is procrastination on an Olympic level. Need to get that sorted. And I want to discuss the international element of Comic-Con because I feel it's important. I think it absolutely makes up the flavour of the con. You see, it's not just you Californians who are going to have all the fun. We're coming for you. And hopefully we'll see you in about in 48 days. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Ooh.